Against the ambition of first places. Truly the minimum at the service. Welcome to our channel that compares themes of the Gospel and Franciscan Sources. Today we delve into the theme of readiness to serve God and others, which overcomes the desire to excel, in the experience of the founders of Franciscanism. For a more complete overview of our human, cultural and spiritual proposal, we suggest you visit the site duvi.art. Mark 10 verses 35 to 45. Saint Francis was truly the least and considered himself nothing before God and men, shunning honors. In the sources we find how he considered himself, "And I, little brother Francis, your servant, for the little that I can, confirm to you, inside and out, this most holy blessing." Sources 131. Being last among all was the foundation of the lesser brother and of the community. In this regard, he once said, "The order and the life of the friars minor resemble a small flock, which the Son of God, in this last hour, asked of his heavenly Father, saying, Father, I would like you to raise up and give to me in this last hour a new humble people, different in its humility and poverty from all the others who preceded it, and happy to possess only me. And the Father answered his beloved Son, Son, what you have asked for is done." Sources 16:17. In fact, the servant of God is described by Francis, in the Perugina legend, as follows. The servant of God is like a painting, a creature made in the image of God, in which it is God who is honored in his benefits. The servant of God, therefore, similar to a painted panel, must refer nothing to himself. Honor and glory must be given to God alone. Sources 1660. Francis wanted to be humble among his brothers. In order to maintain greater humility, a few years after his conversion, he resigned from the office of prelate, saying in the presence of all the brothers gathered, "From now on I am dead for you. But here is brother Pietro Cattaneo, whom I and all of you will obey." Sources 1661. He was truly, throughout his life, infinitely small and a servant of all, to follow in the footsteps of Jesus. The friars themselves, in the rule, are asked to live as strangers and pilgrims in this world, and in the early days, he wanted them to live in the lazarettos serving the lepers. Sources 1658. The poor man of Assisi had made poverty the guiding principle of his life. We are not just talking about material scarcity, but first and foremost spiritual, with the numerous sisters. Humility, discretion, concealment, fleeing every form of power and appearance, as the scribes and Pharisees loved to do, rebuffed by the Master Jesus. Francis was convinced that virtue must remain hidden, far from the pursuit of admiration. In the sources, Solano reiterates, "In this way Francis had rejected every glory that did not savor of Christ, and had inflicted a radical repudiation on human applause. He knew well that the price of fame diminished the secret price of conscience, and that it is far more harmful to abuse virtues than to lack them altogether. We, on the other hand, patiently tolerate not being good, but we do not resign ourselves to not appearing to be so nor to not being believed to be so. Thus we live entirely in search of the esteem of men, because we are nothing but men." Sources 723. And he continues, regarding the poor man. "Humble in demeanor, humbler in feeling, most humble in self-esteem. It was impossible to distinguish from anything that this Prince of God had the office of superior, except from this most brilliant gem, namely, that he was the least among the least. This is the virtue, this is the title, this is the badge that indicated him as Minister General. His mouth knew no haughtiness, his gestures no pomp, his actions no ostentation." Sources 724. Furthermore, Francis, faithful to the Lord, did not want to give anyone the title of Father or Master, nor write it in his letters, out of respect for the Lord who said, "Do not call anyone Father on earth, nor be called masters." Sources 1615. Therefore, the Minimo loved to become a servant in the footsteps of Christ, as Clare herself practiced in Saint Damien among her sisters. From the legend, contained in the sources, we learn. Clare, the primary stone and noble foundation of her order, from the beginning sought to build the edifice of all the virtues on the foundation of holy humility. In fact, he promised holy obedience to Blessed Francis, and never deviated in any way from this promise. She would have humbly wanted to submit, rather than be in charge, and among the handmaids of Christ she would have more willingly served than been served. Forced by the Blessed Francis, she finally assumed the government of the women, and from this fear was born in her heart, not arrogance, and there grew not independence, but the spirit and practice of service. In fact, the more she sees herself elevated by these appearances of superiority, the lower she finds herself in her own esteem, the more ready she is for duty, the more humble even in her outward appearance. Sources 31:79. Mark 10 verses 35 to 45. Thank you all for your kind attention. We invite you to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on our activities. If you liked it, leave a like to support us. Subscribe, give your precious well done, comment and share with your friends. Thanks, see you soon.